Hi, I'm Angela from Get Women Cycling, and today we're going to talk about squeaky brakes, those annoying squeaky brakes. How do we correct them? How do we fix them? Well, the main thing that we need to remember is the reason why they start is because there's a buildup on the wheel rim. The alloy wheel rims will pick up oils and crud and shards and rocks, and will get caught between the brake pad and the rim and start to cause that squeaky sound. So the quickest thing to do in that case is, if you have a dry rag, which I happen to have in my back pocket, you want to start at the valve, and so that you know that where you began, and just gently rub that rim. Rub it. And the reason why we're doing that is we're just trying to get off all of those oils and whatever chemicals and different shards that they might have picked up on our commuting throughout the city. So once we go around that whole rim, you'll see how dirty it actually is. If you have access to water or rubbing alcohol, that would be best. We actually use this eyeglass cleaner. These are interesting because they're easy to pack. You can keep it in your purse or in your bike bag, and you'll see how much oil and dirt can be picked up on here. This is the problem, and this is what causes a lot of the squeakiness. The thing that you need to be aware of is to check the ingredients, because you want to make sure that you don't leave residue on that rim if possible. So again, water is great. Rubbing alcohol is the best, pure rubbing alcohol. If you don't have access to that, just a dry rag, or maybe one of these eyeglass cleaners, or even those antiseptic patches that you can find in first aid kits. Probably not a bad thing to have anyway. So you'd be surprised, after that rim is clean, most likely a lot of that squeaking will be gone. If it isn't, the next thing that you want to do is check the brake pads. So now we have a clean rim. We want to check inside those brake pads and see if there's any a glaze on top of it, which often occurs when you're braking too much. The heat of the rubber against the metal causes this glaze or slick surface that will also cause squeakiness. So I'm just going to turn the camera around, and what you want to do is, with a sandpaper or a metal file, you just want to sand that first layer of the rubber off of the brake pad. So I'll demonstrate that now. So here I expose the brake pads by removing the wheel. Again, this is that piece of sandpaper. And what you want to do gently is just sand off that top layer of the rubber brake pad on both sides. A metal file will also work well. And after that's sanded, you'll be able to feel the fresh rubber that's on top, a little gritty, great stickiness. That's going to work wonders as well to prevent your squeaky rim and brake pads. If that doesn't work, the next thing that I would recommend that you do is that, I'm moving over to the back here because it's easier to demonstrate, is toe in these brake pads. So by toeing, what we're actually doing is creating a bit more of a gap in the back than we do in front of the brake pad, so that when the brakes are pressed, the front part of the pad will touch the rim first, and then as you continue to press, the back part will sit on it appropriately. And that's going to help to prevent the squeakiness as well. The way to do that, it's a little bit more complicated, but you would take a piece of cardboard or a rubber band about this thick. I'm just going to bend that in half and insert it in the back of the brake pad. And with the proper size Allen wrench, once you hold down the brakes from the front, you might need an assistant to help you with this, because you want to make sure that these brake pads are tight before you start adjusting it. With the right Allen wrench, just loosen the bolt, retighten the bolt. That sets the position of the brake pad, and once you pull out the cardboard, you will have a couple of millimeter difference gap in the back than in the front, and that's going to help the squeaking considerably as well. So just to recap, what you want to do is wipe down those rims. If you have access to rubbing alcohol, it's probably the best thing to do. It'll get off the oil and then it will evaporate, not leaving any residue on the rim itself. If that doesn't work, go ahead and sand the brake pads themselves just slightly so that you eliminate that top layer. And if that doesn't work, then you want to go ahead and toe in the brake pad so that the front part of that brake pad is hitting the rim before the back part. And it's just a little bit of a gap that you need there. Folding a business card or a matchbook cover in half will give you the distance that you need. Quickly, if you have a bike with disc brakes, you're going to have the rotor in the center of the wheel, and a lot of it is the same. If you're hearing squeaking with that rotor, it's probably that the disc has been contaminated, meaning that there's been some oil on there. So you want to wipe that down with a rag, ideally a disc brake rotor cleaner. It comes in a spray most likely, and then it will evaporate, get rid of the excess oil or whatever other elements are on that rotor contaminating it. That should do the job. If it doesn't, then you need to look at the brake pads similar to these. All right, I hope that's helpful. If you have more questions or comments, please be sure to type them in. If you found the content interesting, go ahead and like us and share it. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Angela from Get Women Cycling, and we do this because we believe bike riding can make life better. Thanks. See you next time.